They were welcome to anything we had as long as they came in peace. We don't feel that they meant us any harm. Now, some people have this feeling or inclination that the aliens, if there are any ones that are alive from, they wouldn't be alive from Roswell probably, but if they have any ETs hanging out there at Area 51, they are not the most friendly EBEs in the universe. Apparently, according to John Lear and Commander X, who is our inside whistleblower, who claims that he was also working out of Area 51 and had some experimentation with these craft and teleportation, where he was able just to sit in a seat and with his mind move these things around. That these guys are the negative grays, and apparently they are responsible for some of the negative things that have been going on. Supposedly, according to John Lear and others, they actually had a treaty with the U.S. Government, but they broke that treaty. They were supposed to be able to abduct humans and bring them back in exchange for technology that we could reverse, but apparently some of the humans were not being returned. Now, ask me if this is true, and I cannot tell you. To me, Area 51 is my ufological ball of yarn. And I don't mean that in a condescending way, but again, it is a secret base, and since it's secret, and none of us have been there underground or in any of these bunkers, with the exception perhaps of Bob Lazar, what can we say? We can only repeat secondhand information. Perhaps some people have gone out there and have seen these things and have not been returned. I don't know how many people have disappeared along the extraterrestrial highway, but like again, I started out by saying you got to be careful. You got to be sure that you got gas. Now, on my way from Vegas to the Little Alien Inn, which I think is a stretch of about 90 miles, they had told me, make sure you gas up to have a full tank, because there isn't any gas until you reach, now this is prophetic, the Alamo, or the town of Alamo, right? which it could be your last stand for sure. Anyway, for some reason, probably due to the fact that I had two young ladies in the car with me, with the convertible. It was a Mustang convertible, and we had the hood down, and they insisted on dancing in the back seat and carrying on while I drove. I forgot to get the gas, man, and we got out on the highway, and the car sputtered and spit and stopped. Well, as you've pointed out, it was probably 105 degrees, and if it wasn't for the fact that I had these two very attractive ladies dressed very scantily in the car with me, I would probably be turned into a marshmallow. But along came a car with pulling a boat. Now, I don't know exactly what they were doing in a boat, but with a boat being pulled behind the car. But the fellow, much to the chagrin of his wife, stopped and siphoned out gas out of the car and gave it to us, and we were able to continue on. But do bring water, do bring plenty of gas, and mind your manners, and have a good time if you're going out there. And don't go past the line in the desert. You're not going to see anything, and you're going to be harassed by the police, because they will do it regardless, and probably in a lot of cases. Although I would imagine, Gary, this time they will be on good behavior, because I don't think they want bad publicity. But hang out at the Little Alien Inn. Enjoy your brew. Don't drive if you're intoxicated. Camp out and have a good time. And now the latest thing, and I sent you another email on this, for the people who will not be leaving their recliners at home, you can now join in the festivities by joining a worldwide meditation, which is going to be going on. There's a group that has organized this, and you can find it on the internet. I don't remember the link offhand, but I don't think you'll have a hard time finding it. And maybe you can post it later, and people can sit there and meditate and send out good vibes to the friendly aliens.
Yeah, the friendly ones, I hope. I will say this, years ago, and it was probably about, I would say, late 90s, I went up again to see my friend Art. And he wasn't home, and he wasn't going to be home to the next day. So me and my two sons, we decided we'll go up by Area 51. And I was advised not to go past that one last mailbox.
Oh, the black mailbox. Steve's mailbox. I bet you he gets some strange mail.
I bet he does. You know what I did? I went past it, and I remember it was a kind of really ratty road, gravel road.
It is a ratty mailbox too. I think he's got a new one, but
well, I hope he did. I tell you, I probably went in maybe a mile, and all of a sudden I saw this vehicle coming really fast the opposite direction. So I shoved my vehicle in reverse and gunned it. Got back to the mailbox, did a U-turn, and then it's like gunned the vehicle, and I never got arrested or anything. But I tell you, it scared me.
Well, let me tell you this now. I was at the little Alien Inn with my friends Helen and Paige, and I got in the car just to drive around. It was late at the night, but I was not intoxicated, and boy, I know when I'm intoxicated, and this was not one occasion. I got on the road just to drive around and maybe drive a couple of miles away from the lights of the little Alien Inn and park at the side of the road and see if I could see any boomerang-shaped craft coming up from the base or what have you. And lo and behold, there was some sort of desert animal, probably a rabbit or something, because I don't think there are too many other things floating around out there. And I didn't want to create any more roadkill than was already on the highway, so I swerved a little. Right, there's no oncoming traffic, believe me, for the last hour, going in either direction. But the Lincoln County sheriff was up my tail, and he pulled me over. Right now, he could have told, like he knew in 3 minutes that I had not been drinking, I was not drunk, I was not slurring my words, and so forth. But he made me, repeat the alphabet backwards and hop on one leg, which I had a difficult time doing because I had polio when I was a kid. And basically, after about 10 minutes of his harassment, I said to him, if you think I've been drinking, then why don't you haul me in, because I'm getting tired of this. And if you were in other parts of the country, they might shoot you. But here, the guy just said, well, it's 90 minutes to the highway patrol or wherever they would take you. So I'll just take your word at it. And finally, he let me, he let me go. Now, the cover of our book, the Area 51 warning, keep out, people look at it and they say, well, it looks like a road sign. Well, it is a road sign. And if you look closer, there are bullet holes around the face of the alien, because the locals and a lot of the visitors they come packing, and they shoot at anything that moves. And of course, road signs are probably the first thing to go. In fact, I saw a photo of the extraterrestrial highway, the big road sign. It's marked over. It's got graffiti on it. I don't know if you could even read what it says at this point. They shoot at Steve's mailbox, and at night, as you're driving along, you will notice people driving in their automobiles with lights mounted on the roof of their car, pointed into the desert, along the roadside, and they will shoot at anything that moves. If it's a rattlesnake or if it's a wild animal or maybe even somebody unfortunate pet dog, they will mow it down, because I guess they are just like that and they have nothing else to do. So be on your best P's and Q's, and just watch yourself, be courteous, and have a blast, and report back to us. Tell us what's going on. I hope after all of this, it does get some news coverage. It started out getting a lot of coverage, but the news sometimes feeds on negativity. So let's hope that they report something positive, since The real Woodstock did not take place this year because, again, it was almost like the residents of the town out there. They don't like outsiders, you know. I mean, they don't like outsiders, and they are afraid that some people might urinate on their lawn. They don't have lawns, but that's another thing, you know. So there you go.
Well,
it's all kind of it's all kind of weird that people after all these years are still interested there. Now, Josh thinks that they didn't pack up and go home, being the aliens, or that the government has moved their reverse technology to any other base because of the constriction in doing that. I have not kept abreast of whether there are sightings going on out there, but if there were sightings, Gary, I don't know if you could necessarily attribute them to the base, because if you're out there at night, it's probably one of the few places that you can go in the United States where you can look up at the sky and see thousands of stars.
Oh yeah, and it's it's quiet.
The first time I drove down to out of Palm Springs, and I drove to towards, I think it was Joshura Tree and Mineral Wells and the hot springs and all of that. I had never seen anything like that in my life. Being in New York here, where maybe you see the moon, right? And maybe a couple of stars if you're out near Central Park or something like that. There's nothing like that. So if you're into astronomy and gazing up into maybe seeing a couple of meteorites shoot across the sky, you might even be lucky and see a real UFO. I'm sure that there are many people there. Well, they have come from all over the country and all over the world, and some of them have had sightings, and some of them think that they're reversed engineered craft that are parked out there on the base. But some of them could just be wandering over on their way from there to wherever they're going.
Possibility. I tell you one thing, Area 51, a lot of technology on, aircraft is still going on there. And the way the aircraft is starting to look nowadays, it could be confusing for a lot of people. They think they're seeing a UFO, and actually it's a fighter, or it's a stealth bomber, or something else, being developed. So, but one thing I found really strange, Timothy, that, I keep track of UFO reports. One of my friends is Peter Davenport, runs the
oh, my goodness, yes. Great work that he has been doing for many, many years. Before Peter Davenport ran the organization there, it was a fellow by the name of Robert Gribble. I don't remember exactly what year he started, but I've got a stack of newsletters from the National Reporting Center that Robert Gribble put out prior to Peter Davenport. So they go way, way back, and they've been doing this for decades now, with no, it's not a profit-making organization, or, well, hell, what UFO organization is? I mean, it's just or me. I'm the closest to it. I would guess. I actually, even though I am semi-retired at 72, I still publish a couple of books a month, and we've got over 310 books, I think, up on Amazon. They actually said 500 because they count the e-books separately from the printed books, but I just count them kind of all together. I've actually done this since I was 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
I went out and I bought myself a Gestetner mimeograph machine. Does anybody know what a mimeograph machine is?
I remember I had one time in my bedroom, and my mom and dad took it out and threw it away because I had ink everywhere. We got to go on. We got to go.
The kitchen in my parents' apartment looked like a crime scene, except the fingerprints were black and not red.
Oh wow!
And I was vanquished to the back porch.
That would do it.
And the only thing on the back porch was a photograph of Clarabelle the Clown on the wall. Don't ask me why I had that there. I guess maybe he was a Buffalo Bob's partner on the Howdy Doody show or something.
Oh, he was.
And when I was 6 years old, I must have asked for an autographed photo, and that was the only thing out there.
Okay, Timothy.
And I would have
Timothy, I got to go on break for the radio stations.
Okay.
We'll be back in 2.5 minutes with Timothy talking